Cowboy guns like this 1873 reproduction are cool and loads of fun to shoot. The problem is, guns like this one chambered in .45 Colt are expensive to shoot. Used to be 50 cents a shot. That was a bargain. Now it's $1 a shot. That inspired me to pick up this thing. This is a German-made 1873, but in 22 LR and 22 mag. Unfortunately, the craftsmanship, not that great. It still weighs a ton. It's accurate weight to the full size, but as you can see here, the craftsmanship hasn't exactly been perfect. And though true to the 1873 design with the loading gate and having to load and unload cylinders individually, single action only, it has the restrictions of a classic 1873. Fortunately, Diamondback, believe it or not, has the solution with the new Sidekick. Pretty cool revolver in 22 LR, 22 mag, and that's what we'll be taking a look at next on GBGuns. So I've already been playing with this thing like a child at Christmas, so the packaging is not in the same order you normally get it in. Here's the revolver. It came in one of these corrosion resistant bags. You get your trigger lock, decal. This served as the chamber flag while it was in there, just a lightweight plastic deal. Spare cylinder for 22 mag, 22 LR is already equipped, and the manual. Take a look at the manual because there are some things I want to point out to you, and then we'll get to the gun. Ugh, he's so uncool looking at manuals. Well, manuals tell you how well the company wants you to know and understand the firearm. So the better the manual is, generally the better the company is, and the more likely you are to use it and better time you are to have with the gun. Diamondback is one of those that does a pretty darn good job of making things clear in their manuals. It starts off looking like it's your standard 4-color, but bam, full color, nice and clear photos showing step by step. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool in here is it mentions the cylinders are counterbored, which means you can dry fire this thing. That's right, it's a 22 that you can dry fire. Also, since a lot of shooters these days haven't done much in revolvers, I appreciate that they have this safety warning for cylinder blasts. This is true on all revolvers. There is a small gap between where the round detonates and the barrel begins, which means after the bullet passes, gases come out the sides here. So if you're doing a thumbs forward, modern tactical kind of shooting thing, chances are you're going to get burned. You have to keep your thumbs behind the edge of the cylinder when shooting. So nice of them to include that. Alright, enough with the manual, let's take a look at the pistol. So first off, we will show clear, which is an interesting procedure on this, a little bit different. You can see it looks very 1873-ish, like the two guns I just had out there, but no loading gate here. To pop the cylinder open with the hammer down, use the same thing that works for your ejection, but push it forward. And the cylinder pops out to the side. So we can see that we're clear. We've got 9 cylinders, which is awesome. Also looks like I'm going to need to get something out of the barrel there. Was our barrel obstruction. It's one of the pieces from the little ring that had worked as a chamber flag for shipping purposes. So if any of them are missing off of yours, check your barrel. I also found some in the cylinder. It was just a cheap piece of plastic there to, well, for shipping purposes. Anyways, so I thought that was kind of cool way to kick it out. You of course want to use your support thumb and keep your hand from in front of the muzzle. And then you've got an ejector here to kick out your spents. Pretty nice. To change cylinders, there's a detent in there that needs to get pushed while the arm is out, arm swings out, swap in the other cylinder. So, what's this thing like construction-wise? Well, Diamondback began life as an airboat company, and after CNC'd parts were taking too long and holding up production, they got their own CNC machines. And somebody at one point said, hey, we can make gun stuff with this. And ever since then, they've been making great firearms, some of the most accurate rifles, and some pretty interesting pistols. Speaking of interesting, just notice rolling around here, we have a nice target crown. See that crown is recessed from the edge of the muzzle so that if this gets dinged up or damaged, it helps protect the rifling. Sidekick, nicely logoed on the barrel there. And the rest of it looks fairly 1873-ish, even though this doesn't follow the 1873 design. Another thing I like about this that the 1873s don't have is, watch this. It can fire double action. In fact, that double action is even stageable. Of course, now I can't do it, but I was able to do it earlier in a more natural shooting position. Nope. Fairly smooth. Single action, of course. Nice and light. So, pros and cons of this. Well, over everything else that's out there that I've seen, this lets you use any 22 load you want, 22 LR or 22 mag, of course swapping cylinders for the mag, because since it's not a semi-auto, you don't have to worry about it cycling. So if you want to run those really, really soft loads, those ones that won't make your semi-autos run, they'll work in this. Additionally, it's got good heft to it. It's not as heavy as a full size. You can see it's a little bit narrower than a big fat true 1873 clone. So it's a little more practical for carry. I could see this being an excellent trail or farm or ranch gun kind of thing, where you just needed to dispatch little varmints using the load of your choice. Also, the fact that it's double action, single action means that you don't have to cock before firing, of course. It's just ready to go. So if you wanted to, or you're trying to work on training yourself or someone with double action, this does both. It's also spectacular in that you can dry fire with it. As far as sights, it is the classic 1873 style. You've got a valley here and that front blade out front. Don't know if it's got to be nestled all the way down in or a little bit above. We'll find out when we get to the range. Some guns, well, it varies. This being 22, of course, we're going to have some variations between loads, since the velocity of 22 LR can vary so widely. The grips are hard plastic and look nice. Smooth on the front strap, smooth on the back strap. If you've not shot a revolver shaped like this before, it's an interesting experience in that you almost get panicky feeling like this is going to slip around in your hand and you can't get any grip on it, thinking from a modern polymer semi-auto perspective. But in reality, what happens is, with the bore axis being so high and this being smooth, it just kind of rotates in your hand. You fire, it pops up, and I even open my fingers a little bit to let it move. That takes all the recoil out of it. You don't get any jarring in your wrist or your arm. It just kind of rolls your hand up. And as this pops up, my thumb hits the hammer, and I squeeze onto the gun, bringing the gun back down in line on target, simultaneously pulling the hammer back, and you're ready for another shot. Loads of fun to shoot. I think this will be an interesting one to do. Of course, reliability should be 100%. It'll just be fun to run through some of the different loads we have. The spinner target's not going to move under this little energy out of a 22, but I think we have a 22 spinner somewhere, so that could be fun. And I was just wanted to give you a close look at the Diamondback Sidekick. A very affordable, Western styled, very close to the 1873 in a general appearance. Single action, double action, 22 LR, 22 mag. Seems like a very versatile platform, great for training, great for around the property, and just a fun gun to have. We'll find out more when we get to the range. Thanks for watching.